How do you control winter annuals like mare's tail, pennycress, and a number of others? Well, there's absolutely a way you can do that and do it very well on your farm yet this fall. We're going to talk about it today.
It's not so much about, hey, we got another job for you here this fall. It's if you want to kill winter annuals, you need to be out there in the fall. If you wait until spring, we're talking about weeds that are germinating, growing right now, that are going to have a monstrous root system by the time we get to spring, and they're very difficult to take out. You look at crops like winter wheat, for example. Good luck taking out cheatgrass in the spring. If you don't get it in the fall, it's too well established. You're not going to be able to get that job done. The same even for reduced till or no-till corn and soybeans. Wow, to try and take mare's tail out in the spring when it's big, it's very difficult. Even in tillage it can be difficult, so doing the job this fall is the most important thing.
So I'll give you a specific example on our farm where we had mare's tail and a few other winter annuals on about 500 acres of long-term no-till. What we did is we literally shut the combines down, and I realize in the Midwest it's hard to stop the combines on a nice day, but that's exactly what I want you to do. On a day when it's 70+ degrees and it's fit to spray, go out there and hit them really hard with a very high rate of Banville or 2,4-D. So in our case, for example, I just had said, well, let's go out with Banville. Well, what kind of rate should we use? Should we use a pint? That's the normal rate that you might use in corn, for example. No, I don't know that that's enough. Let's really nail these things. So let's go with a whole quart of Banville. Or if we start talking LV6 or Banville, whatever the highest possible labeled rate is on that, in effect, non-crop ground after harvest in the fall, go hit it with that. That's where you're absolutely going to have the best luck. I can tell you that that quart of Banville wiped out the mare's tail. We've barely seen it since in the last 10 years.
The rate is a big deal, plus when you're doing it in the fall, you've got a long time for that herbicide to break down. If you've got growing season left, like last year, we didn't freeze until Thanksgiving. Well, we had a whole bunch of growing season left for that herbicide to break down. If you say, well, I might only have a week or 10 days and then we're gonna have some freeze out here and we really aren't gonna have much growing season left, that may change things a little bit depending on what your rotation is. So you do have to be cautious about whatever your rotational intervals are. But if you're going to a dicamba crop next year, like corn or like dicamba tolerant cotton or soybeans, well, then you can use some dicamba just like you'd be using it in your pre-emerge program.
Otherwise, using 2,4-D in the fall is probably going to be just fine, and you should be able to rotate to most crops in the spring. So once again, this is a pretty simple formula with this aspect of winter annual control. When it comes to crops that are already in the field, the biggest thing I would suggest is make sure you're thoroughly scouting the fields. What ends up happening, I find, is people get busy, they don't really look, they say, well, it doesn't look like I have many weeds out there, so they don't even spray in the fall, and then all of a sudden when spring comes, early in the spring, we get phone calls, people are going, oh no, we have all these winter annuals. Did you have them last fall? Well, no, I don't think so. Yeah, you did. You had them in the fall, you just didn't scout and you didn't spray. So our number one piece of advice is scout and spray this fall. I know it may take a little more money because you might have to spray in the fall and in the spring, but if you want great winter annual control, now's the time to get them.
And we do talk to so many people that mare's tail is their number one weed. If you start with a fall program and even incorporate some of the residuals, like Valor, for example, has a fall label. You can use a high rate of Valor with your 2,4-D or Banville. Burn down what's up, stop any future flushes that may be coming later into the fall or very early in the spring. That could be another good way to go.
Well, winter annual control absolutely can be done on your farm yet this fall, but how about if you have our Weed of the Week? We'll tell you how to stop it coming up next.